Hey, I'm Phil Hassey, creator of Galcon. I've been working on this game for 1 year, or maybe 5 years, maybe 30 years, depending on how you count it all up. Anyways, I think I'm just going to give you an update of cool stuff I've been working on over the past month here. So I'm just going to show you a handful of different screen captures, videos, and stuff, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, a while ago I was working on trying to make the visuals of the game just a little more chaotic. Added some chromatic aberration effect here, which I think ended up being kind of overdone. So I don't know that I'm gonna have a chromatic aberration effect in the game at all. Just didn't seem to be doing it for me. All right, here's an update to the gameplay I did a while ago that I was pretty happy with. You'll see how every time you select something, it's kind of, the lines kind of cruise from one place to another and just appear. And I feel like that kind of looks good. You can also see the reflection of the light showing up on the planets. I was pretty excited about getting that. It's been an interesting time working with this line-based aesthetic in Galcon 3 here because um, it takes a little bit of work to make it actually look good, and I feel like the reflections and the lighting there worked pretty good. I've done a few more updates actually today to make the plants look a little bit rounder, and I am toying with the idea of even using like textures on the planets to make them look like actual planets as opposed to just sort of bubbles in space. That would again be another step away from just the vector only aesthetic, but I think that's okay. I think it's more important to make the good game look fun and playable than to, be committed to some aesthetic, right? So here was a glitch while I was working on all of that stuff where the lighting just went bananas. So yeah, so somewhere along the line, I realized the galaxy map was. I mean, the core Galcon gameplay is really not too much different from any of the previous Galcons. It's all running on the same basic code and everything. And one of the things I'm really excited about in the Galcon 3 is the new galaxy map experience, which it's not going to be entirely dissimilar to some of the ones that were in Galcon 2, but I'm definitely going for a lot more over the top visuals with all the ships and the planets, and I think that's super exciting. But one of the things I was having trouble with was like if I create a new planet type or something, how do I ship that from my server to the end user without having to do like a full app update? Um, it's not been so bad so far because I've been doing all the builds of the game through the web, but what I decided I wanted to do was to make a small scripting language that I could design objects in, and then I could run those objects in the game itself. So I think the next few videos here are going to show kind of the progress along through all that. So this is just me developing that scripting language. I was, working on trying to get planets rendering. This is an early attempt, and you can see it's kind of all over the place in terms of looking like a planet. But eventually, I got things dialed in. Here's a hexasphere planet with some rings around it. It's pretty standard. Here's a more close up of me viewing the ring. I mean, viewing the planet itself, just trying to make sure I've got all the edges and everything. You can see some glitches around the edges, and I did some more work later on to get those. Here's just totally a glitch video. I have no idea what was going on when I was doing this. I think I was having some sort of trouble with the 3D transformations. It made a cool kaleidoscope effect though, so that was fun. Of course, one of the things that's fun once you make a scripting game, all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, maybe I should make games inside my little scripting engine. So I, of course, went and made one of my favorites. This is Quick Basic Nibbles, which a fun fact is the coder who made Quick Basic Nibbles is at Microsoft, was also the guy who made the early version of Galactic Conquest that I played on my PC back in the late 80s, I think. I did make the graphics a little bit more exciting here. And one of the things that this sort of hints to is with the way the scripting language works, I've done a lot of work to really lock it down so I can control that a script will never use more than a certain amount of memory or not use more than a certain amount of CPU while running, which means that eventually players could make their own scripts. So if you've got a modded server, you could very well end up having people playing, games like this or pretty much any little mini game that you wanted to create in there. Oh, here's a fun one. I made a kind of a disco ball style planet here, which looks pretty cool. I haven't integrated this into the galaxy map yet, but I'll have to. Here's a planet that, of course, has got water and earth, and it's also got a carve out of it. So this is again the sort of things like if I want on the galaxy map, all more down the road a piece. Like at the beginning, it's going to be very much straightforward, just like a huge game of Galcon, but eventually there could be incidents where someone launches some special weapon at one of the planets and then there's a big hole in the side of it like this or something. I think that's gonna make it so we can do a lot of wild stuff. Here's another crazy looking planet. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just and all this can be crammed into like, I don't know, 2 kilobytes sent over the wire to the client. Modders can eventually make these. So there's just a huge amount of possibility for the visuals in the galaxy map that didn't exist before. Here, I've been working on the synthwave effect. I know maybe you've noticed in the settings screen, I've got sort of the synthwave background going on there, and I was just reproducing it in the new language. I haven't integrated this into the game yet, but I'll be doing that pretty soon. It's another iteration on it, just trying to get it to all look exactly right. And here we're starting to get towards a hexaplanet that's got one of the current challenges with Galcon. Of course, you've always got like a single color at play, and I do wonder if we can do more multicolor schemes for different players and teams without losing the ability to tell which person is on which team and what's going on. Here we've got actual blue water and green earth, which of course looks nice. Here's a more of just a simple geodesic planet. Oh, and here's a UV planet. So it's got kind of the grid look. Eventually I've got some cool techno planets that I use that kind of a look for. I'm not sure if like the UV planet thing looks so good with colored land masses. This is pretty hideous. This one is starting to look this is really sharp. So this will probably be, I don't know, some subdued version of this will be the background of the settings screen, I think. Here's an amped up version of the disco ball planet. Definitely have to have this on the galaxy map. And that's one of the other cool things I'm starting to imagine. After we get the game up and running, we could totally have different planet types actually mean something. Like, is there some particular advantage to, taking control of this planet other than it looks cool? I mean, maybe there's certain resources, maybe there gets to be some resource trading in the game. I don't know. So a few weeks ago, I actually did release a web version of this editor so people could play around with it. I don't think anyone's given it much of a whirl yet. Ship generation. Here's an early version of a ship. You can see there's a bit of flickering. I think eventually I did fix that in later. Got like a star base, so since all these things are kind of interchangeable, I can actually ship out, a planet or a star base for when you're visiting somewhere on the galaxy. It's just a different rotating view of the star base where I found that the angles of it, you can see it's kind of curving sort of weird, which wasn't what I was actually going for. So it took a little bit to figure out the math to get it working just right, but here's just a crazy glitch that happened at some point when I was working on the ship generation. You see this is like that first green ship, only it's another view of that ship there. Here you can see I don't have the Z triangles obscuring stuff very well, and I've got some other odd lines in there. Just another, yeah, I was messing around with something or other, and I think broke how Nibbles looks, but there's Nibbles for you in another vaguely broken state. I don't even know what this is. It's a little UFO ship. I think that thing is kind of cute. Messing around with the greeble, and you can see I've got some Z triangle obscuring problems at this point, and of course every single frame it's regenerating the whole thing, so it's flickering endlessly. Here's again generating some dots. Again, you can really see I've got some messed up stuff in terms of how I'm rendering it. Here is a donut. I definitely like the idea of having some space station or planet being shaped like a donut at some point in Galcon. I think that's going to be super fun. Actually integrating the donuts into the game, and this was my first effort at integrating all the stuff onto the galaxy map, and again, just math fails. They're just showing up in random places all over the screen. I can't even remember what it was. It was like I was trying to render them on where all the little planets are in the galaxy map, and it was just putting them other places. Here you can see I've got a space station. This is sort of one of the zoomed in views on the galaxy map, and it looks like every single planet is one of these space stations. Here's another kind of chaotic zoomed out view where all these donuts are just flying by randomly. I did eventually get this all working, of course. Here I've actually got the all the little donuts showing up where all the planets are. So that was kind of nice to finally get the sizing and the shaping correct. There's still a lot of iterations I had to do after this. But, here we go. I've got one of the planets is a donut space station in this build while I was testing it out. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video and seeing some of the progress in Galcon 3. Sure to leave a comment, tell me what you liked, and what you're interested in me going deeper on in the next video. Hope you're having a great week. We'll catch you around. Bye.